It was probably one of the greatest deals in advertising public relations history. That's right, it was a great deal. And it is important to know that oftentimes it is the logo that will make the deal real. What could be the greatest deal in marketing public relations history? And what am I talking about when I say the logo makes the deal real? Well, I think some of you know that there is a major athletic equipment company that has a very famous logo, and it truly is one of the name brand logos of the world. And you probably already figured out what it is. Well, do you know there's a real interesting story behind that? And we need to think about you, your logo, your company, and the message behind you and what you do. I'm Stan Houston. This is the Jesus Entrepreneur, and the program begins right now. Greetings once again, and we're back, and we're kind of late again. You see, I'm not just a person who does a radio program about being an entrepreneur. I actually am one. And I'm one in a number of arenas. And so when I do a podcast, it is about my own experiences and those people that I know. And I do it point of the moment. And this is coming to you on a Tuesday, flying in and flowing into Wednesday. And my Tuesday was very, very full of all kinds of activities, making contact around the world with a number of people, helping a gentleman solve a problem in terms of his business, a very crucial decision, and that was halfway around the world, so we did a little coaching and connecting on that, and that was fun. And then another family issue came up, and I had to help settle that. You know how that works. So we worked real hard on that and got those arrangements, and we got that one to work. Really nice when that happens. And now I'm taking some time to look at the day and think about the day. And as I mentioned yesterday, in terms of we are calling this the spirit home of the startup nation. Most jobs today are connected to businesses that are beginning. They're starting up. And it is the entrepreneur who makes the startup happen. So the Christian Entrepreneur Network, we would like to believe that with all of the startups going on, that those men and women of the Spirit, who are followers particularly of the Jesus Entrepreneur, would say that they find some resources and perhaps some encouragement here, perhaps some support, truly a network, and a little teaching, training, and consulting, and perhaps things that can help them, again, build a life, make that work, build a business that not only survives, but perhaps even begins to flourish and thrive. And part of the things that you'll have to do is learn how to expand your brand. And we mean by that is your reputation, the way that people can experience you, connect with you, discover what you have, find out how good you are. And that's all that goes into a long-time brand. Well, there are a lot of famous brands in the world. Right now, let me ask you a question. Okay, what are some of the brands that really are striking, maybe even long-term brands? Well, first of all, obviously Coca-Cola. They've changed the brand itself from time to time, but that's quite a brand. I was thinking of, we talked about the Ford Motor Company yesterday, which, remember, that's the car company that's probably going to stop making cars. They're going to give their attention primarily to their truck and SUV business, and they're going to focus on that and get real good at building that kind of automobile, that kind of vehicle. See how that's beginning to happen. And obviously those companies that want to have that luxury brand sedan, they may just actually specialize in that as to not having anything else. They'll just be, for those people who still want that luxury brand sedan, they may focus on that. But the Ford Motor Company has an incredible brand. Are you thinking of any others? Well, of course, I tipped you off onto one of the famous stories. And many of you know the brand already, but many of you probably don't know the legendary story behind it. And some of you really do. But I was talking with Scott, who is going to be our kind of a chief design teacher and a guy that will help us build our brand and help you build your brand. And we started to talk about the famous, yep, you got it right, the famous Nike swoosh and the brand story behind that. That's right. Everybody is aware of Nike, their swoosh, and of course their logo Slogo. Logo slogan. Just do it. Just do it. And there, the simple swoosh. It defines the brand. Every major sporting outfit will carry the brand, and they have done the job. And is their product better than any other? Well, that's probably a matter of opinion, but I've heard that they do good stuff. But the primary thing is not necessarily how much better they are, but how much better branded they are. After all, a tennis shoe, a sports shoe, a basketball shoe, well, there's just a certain amount that goes into that. And a jersey, well, they're all quality made, perhaps by some of the same companies, the same processes. It's hard to be terribly innovative, but they have the deal. Now, the story behind that is rather interesting. Supposedly, when Michael Knight was putting together this company, and you have to keep in mind what made it unique at that time is that they were not really a shoe company. And he saw that that was not the business he wanted to be in. He did not want to make shoes. What he wanted to do was sell shoes. That's what he wanted to do. And so the gift behind Nike's brilliance was the fact that they were not going to set up factories and learn how to make shoes. They were going to go to other people, tell them what they wanted, and all of the manufacturing costs and all of the things that went into that, around the world they would find people who would make the stuff for them, and they would spend their time and energy putting together the selling, the marketing, the distribution network. So essentially, Nike is not a shoe company. They are primarily a shoe selling, and even more than that, a shoe and athletic supply marketing company. And that's what they do, and of course they've done it well. The legend was for many years that when they put that together, that Michael Knight found a young design student, and this design student came in and he gave some idea, and she sat down and worked on it for a little while, came up with, said, "What do you think of this?" And he said, "I like that." Well, what she had done is she had invented the swoosh. And the legend was that Michael Knight paid that graduate student $50. $50 for the right to use the swoosh. And of course that has been legendary, obviously one of the best deals in the world. Something that valuable, something that unique, something that attractive for such a price. Michael Knight confessed that that story is not true. He said, "No, I'm afraid it's not true. It's a nice legend, but what really is true is that we agreed to pay her $25 an hour, and she did it in an hour and a half, and so we paid her $37.50. Maybe he threw the other $12.50 in as a tip. I don't know. But now, for $37.50, Nike had the swoosh. Now, I'm simply saying this to help you think intelligently and creatively about making the logo work for you. Now, what I have found is that oftentimes it is the logo that makes it real. You have a company, you have an idea, but they need to see something. We were talking about an idea a number of years ago called the mentoring mission. And it was just an idea. We're trying to put this together. And we did the same type of thing. One of my colleagues talked to somebody, again, a student in a university, and they came up with a cute little square, and it had an M, big M, and a little m, and then it had a bigger person and a smaller person, and it was called Mentoring Mission. It was actually incredibly well done, and I don't even think we paid $30 for it. She just thought it was cute to do and fun to do, and we've used it for a while. It's still around, the Mentoring Mission. And when I showed it to a gentleman who was into the idea, but he wasn't really sure what he wanted to do with it, he saw the logo and he said, "Oh, cool." And it seems that the idea became more of a reality to him when he saw some kind of slogan, logo design. So what is true is that you and your company, your project, you need to understand the power of design. Just as the Ford F-150 became legendary, the design characteristics, the F-150, that began to have a unique combination. I say in my book on marketing, image is not everything, but it is the first thing. Now, we have just decided that we've taken the challenge. We have a little logo for tcenglobal.org, and you'll see that that's a little square. It just simply has our initials. It has our name, and it's a little maroon red, and there's a gold crown on it. Now, there's a story behind that, but it's very simple. I hope you'll ask, why the crown? Well, that's the story that we could tell. But other than that, it is just bright, and it's bold, and it's clear, and you know exactly what we're talking about. The Christian Entrepreneur Network, and boom, it's right there. Now, what we're working on is that little slogan that we have now trademarked. Now, we haven't registered it, we've trademarked it, and there's a way that you can trademark something without going through all of the rigors of a registered copyright or a registered trademark. And if it works, it works. Sometimes called a service mark or a TM. And what we are simply saying is we have declared ourselves, we claim the claim that we want to be the spirit home of the startup nation. The spirit home of the startup nation. And right now, along with you and other people, and my good friend Scott, world-class designer, we're trying to figure out what that will look like. That will kind of help people understand that we're not just in the marketplace for business. We're not just in the marketplace for entrepreneurs. We are in the marketplace for entrepreneurs who want to create something new now, right now. It's a startup. It's a faith venture. It's something that has to be given birth to. It has to be nurtured. It has to be carried. There's an incredible risk in it. But if the startup succeeds, there could be all kinds of flourishing and power and influence that takes place. Just like God wants. He wants us to flourish. He wants us to go. He wants us to grow. He wants us to enjoy the shalom that is His gift to us all. I'd just simply ask you tonight, going into Wednesday, look at your logo. Does it need redoing? If you don't have a logo, what do you think one should be? What if you were commissioned, you had to come up with one? By the way, when you do a podcast, Apple's going to ask you. I mean, they have a logo, don't they? And it is so wonderfully distinctive, isn't it? They're going to say, okay, what is your logo? Your thumbnail is the term they oftentimes use, your icon for your radio program. And we have to do that. We have to come up with one. Just like we have for the Jesus Entrepreneur. There it is. That's who we are about, and that's what we are. So, can I ask you, image is not everything, but it is the first thing. I'd love for you to tell me. RadioEdge77@gmail.com, RadioEdge77@gmail.com. Tell me what you know about logos. And then if you have any questions, because we're going to have some people who will be able to help you make your signature. That's right. Your work and your brand and your company and your project needs a slogan, a logo, a signature statement. And that will all help you. Not only make you look good, it'll make people think you are the real deal. You're real. You really are right here. You made it happen. At the same time, it'll give you the story, and it'll always give you something to help you remember in those tough times what you're striving for. I'm Stan Houston. These have been just a few minutes of thoughts about how you, as a Spirit-led entrepreneur, because God made you to be creative, and He would like nothing better for your brain to work real well with creative ideas and energies that will make a difference in your life and your business and the work you do and how you serve others. So why don't you try and come up with that? And we'll just simply say, think about that. I'm Stan Houston. This is Radio on the Edge. This is the Jesus Entrepreneur. It's been a long day, and it's a day still to come. I'm Stan Houston. I'm the co-founder of the Christian Entrepreneur Network, one of the lead broadcasters, and I say I'm the lead right now because I'm asking you to follow me and be on the program. Please be in touch, RadioEdge77@gmail.com, RadioEdge77@gmail.com. Check us out. There's a whole bunch of good videos and other things coming up at tcenglobal.org, tcenglobal.org. Start visiting us. There'll be more and more radio programs. There'll be more and more videos. And we're going to have a number of things that will help you go grow. One of the things we're going to have fun with is, Jesus was quite a salesman. That's right. Or salesperson, if that's what you want. Well, you can actually learn something about selling and building a company from the way Jesus did His deal. He truly knew the art of making the good deal. I'm Stan Houston for Radio on the Edge, for Real Radio. We ask you to join us as we follow the Master Entrepreneur. All the best and blessings to you. Hope to hear from you. We're in tune, in touch, and we'll be back. Bye for now.